Breaking this hour, President Trump has been signaling his plans to decertify the Iran nuclear deal. GOP leadership is blasting Tehran for what they call violations of the agreement, expanding Iran's nuclear capabilities beyond its domestic needs.
Iran's continued pursuit of intercontinental ballistic missiles, funded by the cash bonanza it received when sanctions were lifted, is telling. No country has run such an expensive program without also seeking nuclear warheads to go on top. These missiles are designed to hit us.
Joining me now is Michael Singh. He is former Senior Director of Middle Eastern Affairs of the National Security Council and Managing Director of the Washington Institute. Sir, thank you for joining me. There is an explosive report that is coming out today. It is 52 pages long, and our own Holly McKay here at FoxNews.com got an exclusive look at it. That's called Iran's Nuclear Core, Unsuspected Military Sites. And they basically say the more they investigated, the more they realized that the weaponization program is fully operational. In other words, they're already there. They already have the weapon. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, I think that report's at odds with the findings of our intelligence community, and so I think you have to take it with a bit of a grain of salt. But I think the real issue, Melissa, is that Iran has said that it won't allow inspections at these nuclear sites, and the prohibitions on Iran's weaponization research, which are contained in the nuclear agreement, aren't subject to monitoring or verification. I think it's details like this, it's flaws like this in the deal that we may see the Trump administration trying to correct in the days ahead.
But that's exactly what this group says, is that those sites that you're talking about that aren't open to inspection, that things have been moved around, that there are silos, that they are totally not monitored, and that their domestic program has just been a front for their military program. And as they've looked at the movement and the development, they can tell they're already there. I mean, it may be at odds with what our government is saying because they don't want to call it a missile until they've actually seen it, but they can't get in to investigate. The international community can't.
Right. Again, it's hard to really sort of comment on the veracity of the report. It's hard to know what intelligence our own government may have. But I think the point is, Melissa, that if we're to know whether these types of allegations are true or false, we need to have transparency. We need to have, I think, a tighter inspection regime than we currently have. And so, again, as we think about sort of the way forward with the Iran nuclear agreement, I think this demonstrates there are sort of concrete ways to strengthen it that would give us more confidence that Iran isn't pursuing a clandestine program.
So along those lines, Ed Royce was on America's Newsroom earlier today, and he didn't think necessarily that decertification was the way to achieve what you just said and what we all agree we need. Here were his thoughts.
Force the hell out of the current agreement, and I would figure out how to get the buy-in in order to get onto the military bases in terms of the investigative powers. I would keep the existing agreement and add to it. I think that's the better approach in order to address these concerns we have, because that keeps the Europeans on board working with us, and that's ultimately the goal.
The fact of the matter is, when President Obama sold this agreement, he said there were anytime, anywhere inspections and there were snapback sanctions. We never saw those things, and we definitely never saw anytime, anywhere inspections. Is there any way they're going to agree to that?
Well, I think, Melissa, that if President Trump decertifies, which is what everyone expects, it's a pretty strong signal from him that he's dissatisfied with the agreement and he doesn't think that it's accomplishing the objectives that it set out to accomplish. And I think that probably it'll be an effort to gain leverage by creating this possibility of the U.S. withdrawing to get the others to agree to not only enforce it better, as Congressman Royce was suggesting there, but also address the things which aren't in the agreement, like Iran's missile program, which is key to developing a nuclear weapon, or Iran's support for terrorism in the Middle East.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we will watch and see, because it's certainly a very scary and important issue. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Melissa.